YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another pregnancy update. So it is going to cover basically around 19 to 20 weeks. I think it was about where I left off, through the end of week 26. So basically the last half of the second trimester. So I will start off by saying that I'm still feeling pretty good. Right now I'm actually just started my third trimester. And in the last video I was talking about how much better I felt in the second trimester versus the first, and I will say that that definitely continued. Really, the thing that I feel like I dealt with the most is just feeling full isn't exactly the right word that I would use to describe it. It's like there's less room for food, and so it's almost as though it takes longer for it to make its way down into my stomach. So it feels a lot of times like there's just like kind of a lump there, and that makes sense because, you know, baby is growing, so there is less room in my stomach for food. So it just kind of feels like a little bit like acid reflux, but without the acid part, if that makes sense. Let's see. So one of the exciting things was that we had our anatomy scan. I was about 21 weeks, I think, when I had mine, and everything went well. It was really exciting to be able to see baby girl again on the ultrasound. She was active, but not like, it almost seemed like she was more active on the first one, because on the first one she was kind of bouncing around on the screen and stuff and almost looked like she had the hiccups a couple of times. But even though she was moving on this one, it wasn't quite to that extent. She was being a little bit uncooperative. Every time the tech wanted her to move, she wouldn't, and every time she wanted her to stay still, she would move. So we were in there a little bit longer than we anticipated, but we were able to, the tech was able to get all the shots that she needed. And they don't tell you a whole lot, like they kind of like walk you through what they're looking at the time, but they don't, you know, tell you much in the way of results. I don't really think they're supposed to. So of course we were a little bit nervous waiting to get the results back, but we did within, I think, 24, maybe 48 hours at the most, and everything was fine. They still don't really elaborate on it. Like, you can see the results, but you don't necessarily know what a lot of it means. But the doctor who looked at our results said that everything was completely normal and measuring on track. So one thing, I was looking at it, and one thing that I noticed was that her femur length was in like the 90th percentile. So I was looking that up. I think, you know, she might end up being tall. I'm only 5'5", but my husband is 6 feet, so we suspect that, you know, we may have a future basketball player on our hands. So on my follow-up appointment, which is about a week later, everything went well for that. They didn't do a whole lot. They, you know, did the usual, asking if I have any like symptoms that I wanted to talk about, questions that I had. They measured my uterus. Didn't know that was the thing. I'd heard about like measuring but I'd heard of people refer to it as measuring your belly. So I thought it was going to be like something like around my belly, which I thought was kind of weird. But no, they measure from the top of your uterus and the bottom of your uterus. And I was measuring on track for that, so that was good. And then they also scheduled me for my glucose test, which that is in a couple of weeks. I think I'll be almost 29 weeks when I have that. Not looking forward to it. They gave me the drink so to take home with me, and it's got the directions on it. I have to drink it 45 minutes before the appointment, and the flavor choices were orange or lemon lime, so I picked orange. And apparently there's 50 grams of sugar in the whole thing, so it's more than, not a lot more, but more than a can of soda. And I do not drink soda very often, so I'm not looking forward to having to drink this. It just does not sound appealing at all. But and I've heard of people not feeling well after they drink it because that's so much sugar. So yeah, fingers crossed that it is not a terrible experience and that I pass. So there's that. One thing during the second half of the second trimester is I've been going on more frequent walks. That was something that I was doing a lot before I was pregnant, and then it just got to be too cold, and I've been cold more often than not during this pregnancy, so being outside just did not sound fun. But the weather has started to get a lot better. Being able to like be out in the fresh air has been really nice. One thing I will say is that I've noticed sometimes I get a little sore while I'm walking. So I did recently purchase a belly band to help support, because that's kind of where I'm feeling the soreness and the pulling is in my lower belly. So I forgot to bring it over here, but I got it on Amazon. It only arrived about a week ago, so I haven't used it a whole lot yet, but it just, it's got Velcro, so you just put it around the lower part of your belly and it provides support, and you can use the Velcro to adjust the tightness of it. There were a lot of different options. I liked that one because some of the other ones kind of were either more like a full spandex, not like a full bodysuit, but you know, it covered a lot more area and it came up closer to my waist and rib cage area, and I don't like stuff up there. It's really uncomfortable, and I really only needed the support down in my lower abdomen. So I'll probably do a video with pregnancy products, and I will include that one in it, so I'll have more information and a better review when that time comes. So let's see. She moves a lot now, kicking, moving quite often. There are still some periods where I don't feel her for a couple of hours, but she's a lot more active now. And in fact, now sometimes when she moves, it moves my belly too. Like, I haven't actually seen, you know, like a foot come out yet or anything, but when she like jabs or kicks, it moves my belly. And the first time that happened, that was so weird. But she's camera shy, so every time I get out the camera to try and catch it when she's doing it, she stops immediately. So that's been frustrating. And the couple times I've caught it, it's been like so tiny that it just doesn't feel worth sharing. But I have managed to get Steve's attention before she stops doing it, so he's at least seen it a few times. Let's see. So I'm continuing to feel better about my eating habits. I mentioned that in the last video. I think it was a struggle for a while, and I do actually have a blog post that I talk a little bit more about it in. So if you want to check that out, there's more details in that. I'll link it below, but it's mybalancedjourney.com. And I think it was hard for me because I was feeling like I was failing, for lack of a better word, especially since I had been doing so well before pregnancy, and I just didn't understand why it was so hard now. And I eventually got to the point where I did have to tell myself, well, I can't just give up. I'll just take it one day at a time. And because even if I have days where I don't eat what I feel like is, more nutritious options, if I were to just give up and throw in the towel, so to speak, then who knows what would happen. And every day is a new day, and every meal is a new meal. So I'm just trying to be easygoing about it. And because I also know that if I were to try and go the opposite end and restrict myself, that wouldn't end well either. I would just end up binging because I hate feeling restricted. So yeah, like I said, one day at a time. Because this will end and hopefully my taste buds will go back to the way they were before. So one thing in terms of food that I will mention is that I've been trying to eat more of, and that has been really helpful, is oatmeal. I find it like super satisfying, and it actually, even though the constipation has been less in the second trimester than in the first, I still sometimes deal with it, especially since I really do like dairy products. So when I started incorporating oatmeal, and I'll add chia seeds or flax seeds and nuts, and when I add a sweetener, I'll use a monk fruit sweetener. But I find that has really helped keep things more regular. So, and I really do enjoy it. It's very satisfying. So let's talk about sleep. I anticipated pregnancy being more disruptive to my sleep because I am a light sleeper, and it's something that I've struggled with for years and sometimes go through bouts of insomnia. And I know that pregnancy can sometimes cause that, but I've actually had pretty good sleep through the majority of the entire pregnancy, not just the second trimester. So that's been really great. I've had a few days that I've had some insomnia, but for the most part, it's been great. I sleep really hard. And even on the nights that I wake up several times to go to the bathroom because I'm pregnant, I worried that it would take me a while to fall back asleep, but that has not been the case. So, I mean, a few times, but like I said, majority has been great. So I'm really thankful for that. I do have a pregnancy pillow. I've tried using it thus far. It's just, I can't get comfortable on it. One thing that I have used while sleeping in terms of pillows that I've found helpful now, not as much earlier on because I got it earlier on, but it's the Wedge Pillow, and it looks like this. And I'll link it below. All the products that I mention, I will link below. I think if I were to get a different one, I might pick one that's just a little bit squishier, that maybe has just a little bit more give, but it does work, and it is supposed to support your belly It's supposed to be something that when you lay on your side, you kind of wedge it in there to help support your belly. And as my belly has gotten heavier in the last few weeks, this has been helpful. Another thing, I've started trying to get prepared for giving birth. I've started watching some birthing videos, just ones that other people have posted on YouTube. So that's been helpful. I try to find positive ones because I think that is more helpful. I also signed up for an online course through the Positive Birth Company. I found them on YouTube as well, and the videos that I saw, they're just kind of like small snippets of the types of content that they do, so you can look them up. I'll also link it below, but that'll give you kind of a sense of their types of content. But I seem to connect with the messages that they're putting out there, and so that's what got me interested. And then I went and found that they have a website and that they had an online course that you could buy, a digital course. So I signed up for that, and I've started watching some of the videos already, and I'm loving it. I'm feeling so much more confident about giving birth and a lot less anxious. So I definitely recommend checking them out if it's something that you're interested in. Oh, then one of the other things that we've done to start getting ready is we started looking at hiring a doula. And just as of a few days ago, we did find one that we really like. And so we have one now. So I'm excited about that. She'll basically serve as a resource for me towards the end of the 3rd trimester. And, you know, with questions that I have about, of course, giving birth, but even, you know, pregnancy related questions and you know, things that it might just be easier to ask her than trying to get in touch with the birth center and midwife and, you know, that sort of thing. And they're also there to give you help with different positions to try and move birth along, and just like another support person. So I'm really excited to have her be on the last leg of this journey with us. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about quick is supplements that I have found useful in the last part of the 2nd trimester. Like I said, I'm going to do a products video, like a pregnancy products video. So this is not an exhaustive list, but these are just some of the ones that I've either got during the 2nd trimester or that I've just found specifically helpful during the 2nd trimester. So let's see, I'm going to start with this one because I've already mentioned that one of the things that I've had to deal with is just almost feeling like there's like a lump at the back of my throat, whether or not it's caused by food, or sometimes I think maybe like postnasal drip, because that has been something that's kind of come and gone a few times. And I tried that. I'd been using it before, but I tried it specifically the other day when I knew I was having postnasal drip. And it's called Beekeeper's Naturals. It's a throat spray. And I got on Amazon all of these. I've gotten all the things I'm going to talk about, I've gotten on Amazon. But yeah, you just spray, I think it's like 3 to 4 sprays in the back of your throat. And I think it's supposed to be like an immune boosting supplement. Like if you start to feel a cold coming on or something. But I used it the other day when I was having some postnasal drip, and I don't know if it was just a coincidence because the weather got better the next day, or because sometimes I feel like it has to do with the weather, or if it really was from this, but the next day it was completely gone. I took it the night before. So I do recommend that product. Another thing are these calcium, magnesium, potassium supplements. And one thing that I didn't necessarily think about when I got it, but has been a lifesaver, is I have started to feel a little bit of restless leg, and the magnesium in this has helped tremendously. And that's, I mean, one of the things, like one of the supplements that is supposed to help with restless leg is magnesium. And just like leg cramping in general from pregnancy. It just kind of came out of nowhere. It is a symptom of pregnancy, but it just kind of popped up one day. And within an hour of taking one of these, it gets better. And then I'm able to fall asleep a lot easier at night. So I highly recommend a magnesium supplement. And then I'll mention these because I also got these beetroot capsules, beetroot powder for blood pressure. I have noticed a difference in my blood pressure. I think that it probably, like, because I didn't have an issue before pregnancy. I'd had one bout of high blood pressure like years before, but before pregnancy, my blood pressure was fine. I think it had to do with what I was eating during the first trimester and not being able to be active. So it was just kind of like a night and day situation that I went from, like, for my eating habits and my exercise. So I think it just started to take a toll on my blood pressure. So I do recommend that. And then if blood pressure is something that you have an issue with. And then these, I don't take them every day, but I was starting to be concerned that I might possibly be getting a bladder infection. But it definitely didn't feel like for sure. It was just like maybe. And I did not want to have to go on antibiotics. So I wanted to maybe, like, if it were going to, like, starting to turn into one, I wanted to try and prevent it. So I was looking up natural supplements to take to help. And this one is D-mannose. And it's got cranberry extract in it as well. And both of those things are supposed to help with bladder infections. Basically, it's a bacterial anti-adherence. So it keeps the bacteria from sticking inside your bladder. So sometimes I'll take it periodically. Other times I'll take it if I start to feel like maybe I'm like, it's not like a full-on burning sensation, but just like a little something uncomfortable. So and I notice that when I do, and other things like making sure I'm getting enough fluids, that then it goes away. So as far as I know, it's helping, or it's just that I never actually had one in the first place. It kind of just maybe feels a little bit like it, I don't know, or it doesn't develop into one. So the last thing that I will mention are these apple cider vinegar gummies. I had taken them before pregnancy. I had gone through a couple bottles before, and then I kind of forgot about them. But with my upcoming glucose test, I started you know, wanting to look into ways to help support my blood sugar levels, and apple cider vinegar is something that is supposed to do that. Studies have shown that it, like, your post-meal blood glucose levels are lower after taking apple cider vinegar. They're still a little bit sour, but by far better than straight up apple cider vinegar. And I still have a bunch of cravings for all citrusy, soury type things, so I actually don't mind it. And one thing that I really like about it, that there's only 1 gram of added sugar in each gummy. That was something that I noticed with a lot of the other gummies, was that it was just, it ended up being not worth it because the amount of sugar that was added to them. And I like the ingredients. The ingredients are good, so I do recommend that one. Okay, so I guess I should be wrapping this up. So the last thing I will show is the bump date. The last one, I was about, like I said, I think like 19 or 20 weeks. So that is baby girl. I am 27 weeks and 1 day today, so getting a little bigger, getting a little nervous for how much more I will grow in the 3rd trimester, but still fairly comfortable right now. So, and just been trying to enjoy the cute bump. So if you have any questions, leave them down below, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye.